Hey, Frank, just wondering, at this point of the series, do you still feel like it's that game-to-game adjustments, or is key? Do you feel like you've already gotten a sense of most of the things that Miami does? How does that factor in once you get to a Game 5?
Yeah, you're always trying to anticipate what the other team is going to do from adjustment standpoint, especially after you've won the most recent game. So we got a long list of things that they could possibly go to that we're working on today to prepare for.
Hey, Frank, before you guys departed for the bubble, we talked to you a lot about preparing kind of your family for your time away. Now that we're at the end of it, what have your conversations been like with your wife and daughters as maybe they prepare for you to come back finally after a really long time? And how do you have to try to block that out going into a closeout game, or do you try to lean into it and use it with your team?
Yeah, I probably prefer to keep my conversations with my family private, but in terms of blocking it out or using it, I would say I try to block it out. To me, this series is far from over. We've got a lot of work to do. This is a great basketball team that we're playing, and my focus is solely on all the little details that go into what we have to do to get one more win.
Allison?
Dave McMenamin.
Hey, Frank, LeBron said that he feels like the Laker experience for him has taught him that Laker fans don't care about what you did prior to putting on the purple and gold. And I wanted to know if that you felt the same way yourself at all, if this has been a validating experience kind of in and of itself, separate from what happened in Indiana and Orlando.
Well, I could say it's been a great experience. I think this is the coolest franchise in the whole NBA. And the fan base, the history, Southern California, it's just there's nothing like the LA Lakers, and it's been an honor to be a part of it. I hope to add to its history with one more win, and I'm not sure if what happened with me prior to coming here has anything to do with it. For the fan base, they just want to see their team win and be back on top. We're in position to do so, but still, obviously, one more win.
All right, Will, back to you.
Okay, thank you. Alan Sliwa?
Hey, Coach, of course, always a lot of praise goes to Anthony Davis and LeBron James, as it should, but the role players in the last game, you had 27 points from the bench. Danny Green, KCP had some big shots. Can you just talk a little bit how important, just collectively as a team, every time it seems like somebody is doing exactly their role? If you could talk a little bit about that. Yeah,
that's been the story of our season. We set out at the beginning of the year to be a team that's greater than the sum of our parts, and to be a team-first team that has obviously our two megastars, but we needed everybody else to try to star in their roles. And without those guys, we don't win at nearly the level that we have. We are not in the position we are right now. And, like you said, I think KCP and Danny and Rondo the other night in particular were huge for us winning that basketball game. I think Kyle Kuzma is quietly having a huge impact on this series. Markieff Morris is having a huge impact on this series. Dwight sets the tone with his physicality. Both of our bigs have been great for us all year long. So, it's definitely a team effort in what we're trying to accomplish.
All right.
Brian?
Cool, thank you.
Sorry, Allison, go ahead. I'll get Brian next.
Okay, let's go with Dan.
Wow. I feel very important. Frank, when you sat down with Rob after you got hired and you guys kind of went to work on figuring out what this team was going to look like, what struck you about sort of his willingness to collaborate? I know he's spoken a lot about, talking to LeBron and talking to AD about stuff, and just what was it like working with Rob through that process?
Well, everyone always wants to talk about collaboration, but are not always willing to exhibit, that type of collaboration. And that's what struck me first, is that I was very, very involved in every personnel decision, really every organizational decision that was made from the time I was hired. And it really has been a wonderful partnership between Rob and myself, obviously extending to Jeanie and Kurt Rambis and Tim Harris, and then to our players, with starting with our captains, but all of our guys. We set out to achieve for organizational togetherness. And, I think Rob's relationship with me from the start set a great tone for that.
Kyle Goon?
In terms of the history of this franchise and so all the connections to the past, I know you talk about your deep respect for that, but what does Jeanie represent to you in that terms and feeling connected to the history of the franchise?
Obviously, Dr. Buss is who created the Laker way, and the love for the LA Lakers. Jeanie being a big part of that, obviously being raised through that and being a part of, their rise, all those types of things. But for me, it's been a different dynamic with her leading the way now, and she's been an incredible leader for our organization. She has really given us every resource that we could ask for, has shown support in every way that you can support a coaching staff, a team, a front office. And she's just got a great demeanor about her. She's great to be around. And, she's a huge part of why we're so connected.
Okay, back to you, Will.
Okay, thank you, Frank. I'll take two more for you. Brian Kamenetsky, please.
Hey, Frank, obviously you guys have preached all season long, one game at a time, whatever's right in front of you. But how much do you as a coach in preparation for tomorrow kind of take into account the human nature of understanding, like, it's one game away, this thing is one game away, and allowing maybe for that to be part of your preparation, sort of an understanding of just the mentality, how hard it is to avoid thinking about it?
Well, like you said, all year long, the focus has remained on the task at hand, not on what's going to happen if we execute, and the result has never been at the forefront of our minds. And right now, we're not thinking about that. We're not thinking about tomorrow. We're not thinking about win or lose. Hey, we're thinking about how to guard pick and rolls, how to execute better offensively without turning the basketball over, all those types of things that fall in the bucket of the process and the task at hand, more so than what the result is going to lead if we're able to have have success and get one more win.
All right, thank you. One more, Sean Hyken.
Frank, you're in this deep playoff run now in the bubble, and then you obviously had a few deep runs with Indy outside of the. But like, if you could maybe think back, like, which of them in terms of like physically, mentally, the different challenges, like which is harder and which is easier, or what the differences are, maybe even if like one of them isn't harder or easier.
Bubble versus non-bubble.
Yeah, just for like when you're in this conference final or the finals.
Well, I say obviously playing the road games is easier in the bubble because you're not really on the road. We have home court advantage, so I think that plays against us in some ways because the other team doesn't have to deal with the Laker fan base at Staples. I think the no travel has been easier on all of our schedules, sleep schedules, all those types of things. Those are probably the two biggest things.